Much, Honorable Lonze.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Thank you to the Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the University, the SRC, and the Institutional Forum. I'm happy the Higher Education Department is here, Chair, because a lot of these issues, I think it's also a failure of the department to be able to assist our public institutions in being able to resolve the issues on campus. I'm saying this, Chair, because as we speak, President, the University of Cape Town is also on a shutdown. We know what has been happening at CPUT, we know what has been happening at DUT, and now we're learning about what is happening at Wits University. So we can't call these public institutions DDG, and then we even become proud of summoning them to Parliament when the department itself is not assisting these public institutions. I mean, let's take the matter of NSFAS. I think we once asked this question and we didn't get a real answer for it. What would justify NSFAS defunding a student in the middle of the academic year, or an academic journey? So someone has come all the way from the Eastern Cape province. They've made their way through bus, through trains, they arrive in Johannesburg for the first time ever in their lives. They've never left the province of Eastern Cape or Limpopo. They get to Johannesburg, they register at Wits University, they get accommodation, they begin their classes, they do 4 courses or whatever first semester, and then boom, in June, NSFAS defines them. What is the justification of that? I mean, what does the department have to say about that type of practice? And then again, we'll go back. I'm not absolving the universities, don't get me wrong, but I do think that there are certain instances where really we are being failed by the Department of Higher Education and Training in its inability to ensure that its institutions are held accountable and they're able to serve our universities and students. At the part of the universities, I just have a few questions. How many students are currently unregistered as a result of fee blocks? Because there are a lot of numbers that are going around and we want to get a much clearer understanding of that. And then I wonder if the institution considers, when we used to debate this issue of fee blocks, Honorable Karabo, remember, you've got academically deserving students. So there's a difference between an academic exclusion and a financial exclusion. You genuinely have students who are doing very well in the academics. And because of the issues like the ones we just mentioned of the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, losing bursaries, parents get retrenched, and many other socio-economic reasons that would lead someone to not being able to fulfill a commitment that they had made prior. But this person is doing well academically, they are not failing, they are passing. I wonder if the institution itself now, let's put the department aside, can't find it in you to say that, why would we want to stop this person from continuing with their studies? Because they are likely to finish on record time. They've not demonstrated any, possibility that they'll be here. Because I know some of the reasons that the universities give is that, no, this student has been failing every year and they're likely not to graduate. But now let's look at the academically deserving students. So when you give the statistics, I'm also interested in if you could characterize or categorize the students in terms of those who are not registered. And then what are your plans for perhaps let me start by this, because the SRC makes a claim that there are beds which are available. So maybe I must ask you on a platform like this, because sometimes when the SRCs engage you on campus, because you are not speaking to a government body, you may not necessarily be very honest with them. But I want to believe that at least to Parliament, you'll be able to give us correct statistics. Are the beds that are available in the university? And if the beds are there, Prof, why are we not putting students in the accommodations? Because you could even develop a system. I mean, you guys can play around with the words. But just by sitting here listening to the SRC, one would think of, you could even develop some form of a transitory student accommodation program to say that whilst we wait for the incompetent National Student Financial Aid Scheme to send us a funding list, We've got these students who are here in lecture theatres, they are here sleeping in the SRC offices. Can we have a transit, and it becomes university policy that every year we've got a set of beds. That's part of planning, because this is something that you discuss late in the year for the following year, that we know that roughly in January we have this number of students. Can we develop a transit system to say that for 1, 2 or 3 months, whilst we wait to finalize the registration processes, we're not going to make these people sleep under a bridge because they don't have the funding? And then lastly, on the application fee, Prof, you are a scientist. I am not convinced that charging more than 100,000 people 100 rand, you are doing that simply because, I think you charge 100 rand. You are doing that because you want to pay the people who are doing the application processes. Yes, there could be some expense, but again, you are a scientist. I'm sure you've got technology within the university. I'm sure you can develop systems that can automate some of these things that don't necessarily need human capital. I am simply not persuaded that you need to charge application fees for so many students when you cannot even admit all of them. Yeah. So please speak to that when you come in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Loans. Actually, the beds, the university on slide 51, they've said they do have 300 beds available. So it was not a claim from the students, it's what they have. Honorable Low.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Let me welcome the presentation and also welcome the submission of the debate members. I think what becomes much more critical is that we don't take kind on the letter you've written to us with regard to telling us that we must tell you what you want to forward. Doing our oversight here. If indeed there was everything correct, you are going to have students not protesting and having hunger strikes and wanting to resolve to their issues. So we're not making a favor to call you as a university to come and tell us why you're running your governance and what is happening. And there's no any other special university in this country, whether it's FEDS, whether it's NW, whether it's SPU, we are all going to account under ourselves and we're going to make our oversight as portfolio committee members, because people who are affected by issues there are our students, who are our brothers, who are our sisters, who are community members, who are portioning all of the problems to those who are politicians and forgetting that the administrators who do not like government, who do not prefer the ministries because they believe they are the most important more than any other student. We're not going to allow it. We'll call you anytime here. You will come and account, or we'll go to yourselves and make sure that you account. Because we are going to represent the majority of the motive forces who are suffering, who are affected by serious challenges. Some are depressed, some are killing themselves. We got reports there that there are workers who have been traumatized. We have lost workers because they were bullied under circumstances where people have turned the institutions to become their own war room, to deal with, to nurse their self-interest and forget about the majority of the people whom they are taking even 100 rands and not even accepting them.